It's
Mm-hmm.
a combination of the guttural meows and the hissing and growling from her. So very relaxing.
Welcome to Just Trust Me, the marketing podcast that calls out always the winning and wily ways of today's marketing. I'm your host, Rachel Moore, and I'm always, ever and always in cahoots with two fellow marketers. We are joined by one today. The other one, let's just be honest, she's getting a pedicure.
An emergency pedicure, quote.
It was an
unquote.
emergency. I hope they had an urgent, like a triage unit to make sure she could get in. Tanya, you're going to listen to this, I hope, and just be like, what? But Elizabeth's with me. This is my co-host, Elizabeth Allen. Hello, Elizabeth.
I am back. Thank you.
You are back from where are you back from? Tell us.
I am back from Ireland and England. We had a lovely trip.
And I get to see your pictures and stuff. Just so you all are aware, Elizabeth's daughter took over her Facebook often, and I had life every day. From the captions were great because she just made sure you knew who it was, but she documented the trip from her perspective with your social handle, which was great.
She cracked me up because she would post things and she'd be like, do you think your friends know it's me or you? And I was like, the 17,000 emojis might have been the telling point that might have told them that it was you and not me posting.
I'm just guessing.
The frog emojis, the, nail polish hands emojis, which is her favorite because she's like fully into that. She tells me I'm slayful all the time. And I'm like, remember when you were saying that and you thought you were being funny and ironic, and it's fully in your vernacular. Mm-hmm. I'm slayful. Thank you.
You are slayful now, but I just thought you guys looked like you had a blast. Is Abbey Road the same after you visited?
Abbey Road is awesome. It was very cool. My one drawback was the people we were with. I'm like, this is where I get into my dorkiness. People were trying to take the pictures the opposite way. If you care about the Beatles, why the fuck are you going from right to left in your pictures? I am disappointed in you. You have hurt the fandom in general. And like, my husband had to keep like shh-ing me because I was like, why are they walking that way? That's not the way the album is. That was getting very violent.
Why wouldn't you replicate it exactly? You know what it looks, what it's supposed to look.
You're supposed to walk from left to right. And yeah, I have a little bit of a problem. But the cool thing is, outside of Abbey Road, outside of the studios themselves, they have this cool fence, but it's like concrete. And they encourage people writing on that fence. Whereas if you go a little bit to the right or to the left, they have signs up that say, please just write on our area instead of writing on this. And they actually sell Sharpies in the store, the Abbey Road store, so you can sign it. And the guy, I bought one, and he was like, do you want this in the bag or are you going to write on the wall? And I was like, I'm going to write on the wall, and which was really cool. So I signed it for my dad. So I wrote, in this life, I love you more, which my dad would have loved. And I wrote his name, which is very cool. And I just love that they encourage that. That was very cool. And I'll talk about it more in I Got, because the Beatles trip had me got all over the place.
Oh, I'm sure.
We had a great time. I will tell you, Irish weddings are something different.
Really?
People are built different. So the wedding I went to started at 2 p.m., right? Uh-oh. And we here consider that like an afternoon wedding. What is it done at 8 o'clock, if that?
Sure.
I had to finally bow out of that wedding at 3 a.m.
Oh my God.
And it gets worse. A lot of the rest of the people who were there left at 5 a.m. And I actually came across a few guys that left at 7 a.m. And I'm not talking like after parties, like you go to the reception and then you head out and you do whatever. No, they were at the reception the entire time, and the bar was open the entire time.
Oh my God.
And this guy left at 7 a.m. I don't know how they do it. I'm really impressed.
I am too.
At 3 a.m., I was like, guys, and I love to drink. Don't get me wrong, but I was like, I'm done here, guys. I love you. And I have FOMO like nobody else, but I was also like, I can't do this anymore. And like the bride and groom left at 5 a.m. and a bunch of their people did. And then that one guy who left at 7 a.m. And it is still the reception. And anybody who's been to a U.S. wedding knows, like, at the very latest, the reception goes till 11 midnight, right?
Yeah,
and then if you want to continue it on somewhere, that's your own thing. But like in Connecticut, our bars close at 2 a.m.
Right.
I left at 3 a.m. The bar was still like hopping. And I don't, Irish people are built different, man.
Venues maybe too, because any wedding venue is going to cut you off. I mean,
Mm.
and who can afford that here anyway? I just wonder, there must be something different.
It was wild. I will say, thoroughly enjoyable. I remember at one point I'm sitting at the table and my friend, the friend whose wedding I was at, her niece's boyfriend was singing like Irish tunes. And it was the most Irish thing that has ever happened to me. He was singing like these Irish songs in that Irish cadence. And I'm
Yep.
sitting there and I'm like half drunk, but I actually wasn't drunk because we'd pretty much been drinking from like 3 o'clock on. And it was the most Irish thing I'd ever experienced. And then she had her dad's picture, who her dad had passed away, who I loved. He was like a second father to me. And we're singing to him. And it's Irish songs that I've never heard before. You know what? It was an experience. It was crazy.
Oh.
But for somebody who likes to drink, I can't hang like that anymore. I can't hang till 5 a.m., 3 a.m. And I was out. I think Lorelai was out at probably midnight, maybe 11.
Dang, that's still late.
But again, my FOMO. I always have FOMO. That's what I think makes me a good marketer, because I always have FOMO. That I'm like, I have to stay up. This is the coolest thing I've ever experienced. But eventually at 3 a.m., I'm like, guys, I am out. And I thought that was late. And it was not late for these people.
Wow, I'm impressed. The stamina alone is pretty impressive.
And
so
apparently that's normal for these weddings.
Wow.
And honestly, never mind the fact. So they started at 2 p.m. If our weddings go to midnight, what do they start at? 5? Yeah, exactly.
Because you do the ceremony, then you've got to feed people. You got to have people eat the dinner, and now you can dance and stuff. But yeah, they're like, okay, it's midnight. This venue's kicking us out. Plus, no one can afford another $6,000 per hour or whatever. Get out. Part of me wants to go out on Facebook, be like, okay, who do I know in Ireland who's gonna get married? Can I come?
It's
but
very
then
fun.
Yeah, everything's more fun over there. It's fun. Especially right now. I'm very happy you had a great time, and I know you needed it, and I know it was good. And of course, now you're home with a new addition to your fur baby family. Was it Reginald?
Reginald Vell Johnson.
All right, it's a very pretentious name. I like it.
It's the guy who played Carl Winslow in Family Matters. That's the actor's name.
He
was also
I
in
love
Die
him.
Hard.
Yeah, I heard he's the cop.
Yep. And he also played Dash in Heart of Dixie, which people will make fun of this show. But this show, I love this fucking show. And it was filmed on the Stars Hollow set of Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
so it feels
course.
very Stars Hollow, but in the South. And I've rewatched that show so many times. It's not a great show, but I love it so much. Reginald, I don't know why I saw him immediately and was like, your name is Reginald Vell Johnson. So we have Gretchen Wieners and Reginald Vell Johnson.
Sometimes you just know. I love it. Oh my gosh. Hail to the Pets, the podcast. And we do have them on Instagram, which actually we need to add yours. We added Reginald to the Instagram because I don't think he's appeared there yet. Obviously, you just got him. So naturally. Let's talk about some marketing-y thingies. We did just cross the threshold from Pride Month. You know, technically every month should be Pride Month, but the official Pride Month was in the month of June. So I saw this and are going to see if we can cover a couple marketing-y thingies before we then get to our segment on good marketing. And then we'll, of course, get to I Got Got or We Got Got, but it's mostly You Got Got because I don't think I got this last week. I know you had some notes in here too, so I definitely want to let you kind of guide. But Pride 2024, we're going to talk about Target reducing its Pride section after 2023, less rainbow washing, which is good, but also Tractor Supply backtracking their DEI LGBTQIA plus support. This makes sense to me now because I saw somebody earlier today post a picture of their Tractor Supply hat. And they said something to the effect of, I guess I need to stop wearing this. And I didn't know why, but now I have a feeling I'm about to. Take us through, what did Tractor Supply decide to not do, I guess?
This was one of those moments where I feel like there was whiplash with this brand, right? So I have a Tractor Supply store like half a mile down the road from me. And I've never been because, and this is a me problem, I assume they were catering to a type of demographic that was just not my people. So like even my daughter was selling Scouts like cookies or something outside of it. And she was like, I'm not sure about this because she's like a queer kid. And she's like, I don't know if I want to hang out at Tractor Supply. So then late last week, it suddenly came out that Tractor Supply was like super LGBTQIA plus friendly. They had this great DEI initiative. They were really invested in it. And then the backlash happened. So then suddenly you
Of
had the
course.
people who disagree with us. Once they found out about it, they didn't know about it. They were spending their money there and were totally fine with it. And sadly, Tractor Supply, the company, was like, oh, never mind. We don't want you to think that about us. And I think that's what happened a
Mhm.
lot with Pride this year. We saw it happen with a
Mm,
lot of brands. And while I agree that rainbow washing isn't great, I don't
right.
appreciate it because you're not really committed to the LGBTQIA plus community. It's more about knowing who your customers are and just wanting to call to them. For example, we noticed this year after Target last year had a lot of pushback. There was one particular TikToker who started this whole pushback. Her husband was in the army or something, and she was posting all these videos of the Target Pride section, how
Yeah, I remember.
disgusting it was, and how horrible it is, and how you're trying to push this on children because, God forbid, there be a rainbow on a little boy's t shirt. I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
And sadly, you watch this year, the Target Pride section was like a quarter of what it was last year. And it was so obvious. And not
Mm.
only was it a quarter of what it was last year, but they put it at the back of the store. So I remember last year
Ah.
walking in and seeing our Pride section, and it was like at the front, and it was really cool. Hey, this is what we've got going on because this is like the current topical thing happening right now. This year, it
Yeah.
was pushed to the back of the store, and it was again like a quarter of the space, the footprint of what it was last year. And so seeing that, seeing what I was so excited about Tractor Supply,
Mm,
focusing on this community, you're starting to
yeah.
watch these companies totally give in to bigots, essentially.
Yeah. Noisy bigots.
Exactly. And it's so tough because you're like, I don't want the rainbow washing because it feels like it's
Right.
pandering. But also, when we're watching these companies give in to the bigots, I feel like Pride this year had a very different feel when it came to brands. There were a lot fewer advertisements, there were a lot fewer campaigns. I do wonder, while we don't want rainbow washing for rainbow washing's sake, watching these companies just backtrack their
Mhm.
supposed beliefs is so hard to see. So
Yeah.
Pride this year definitely didn't feel like as much of a celebration as it has in previous years. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm grossed out by it. And
Yeah.
as somebody who's a suburban white woman, to watch
Mhm.
Target be like, we have to push it to the back of the store so you really can't see it.
Right.
You have to look for it if you want to find it. And then once you find
Yeah.
it, it's going to be such a small section of our product. And honestly, even when you looked at the products, they were kind of like generically rainbow. A lot of it wasn't Pride merchandise. It was like, I guess those could be considered the rainbow, even though they're like out of order and the colors don't make sense and they're not a
But
part of the.
even the mirrors, like if it's even close, how do we know another TikToker who decides they need to take issue with it and assert? It's wild that you're saying this too. My brain is instantly going to the series The Boys that I'm watching because there's what's her freaking name in there, Firecracker or whatever. But she's representing pretty much that whole subset of I will choose to be offended. I'm going to go viral and call it out and make a big deal about something. And y'all, this is so dumb to me, the whole rainbow thing, because I'm like, I literally grew up in church. Y'all, the rainbow, what the hell? Come on. Seriously, like a symbol by God out of the Bible. And y'all are deciding, like, no, if I see a rainbow, it's got to mean that you're trying to groom my kid to be gay. And I'm like, no, obviously. And I'll say too, I think it's pretty clear where we as hosts stand
Yeah.
on the whole, a lot of these societal issues and just being human to each other from a marketing standpoint. You see these kind of decisions happen. And I know people listening to this, either work in marketing departments, maybe they lead them, and they're probably in rooms where they're talking about what do we do with these campaigns, and even down to Do we say happy pride on our social
Yeah.
media? A standpoint of who we employ as our employee culture. Do we say that we're being inclusive, and therefore should we call out that we're inclusive and say that we embrace LGBTQ plus on our social during Pride Month? But to your point, then, do we only do that during Pride Month? I know they must be quantifying, assessing the risk and benefit of, do we try to come out and say, hey, let's be inclusive, even if we know we're going to turn people away, granted bigoted people or ignorant people, or people who just decide that I can't support you if you're going to support gay people. They're having to make those decisions. And I agree. I think it's super sad when the brands are making the decision to cater to the people who are ignorant.
Like, part of me is, okay, at least we know who you are, right? We know
That's
the
true.
companies who support us wholeheartedly, and we know the companies who were doing it because they wanted to hit as many people as possible and thought maybe this will make us go viral or whatever. But it was wild this year. And I think this is the first year we've seen this in a while where it was like Pride was much quieter.
Mm.
And I hate seeing some of these people who they get their way essentially. You
Mm-hmm.
threw a little fucking hissy fit. How did that one woman win? I
Mm-hmm.
don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for
Yeah.
somebody who frequents Target all the time, you're just like, I walk in the next year and it's so clear that you're making sure that she's quiet. You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to hear from her. And you throw peanuts to the people who might be going to
Mm-hmm.
Target who are queer, who is like a good amount. If we just look at the population, a good amount of the people who are walking into Target are probably queer. And you're just like, I'll throw you like, 6
Yeah.
rainbow items, and hopefully that's enough for you. And that the whole thing about the Tractor Supply situation, I mentioned it earlier, I've never had whiplash so bad where I was like, oh, maybe
Mm-hmm.
Tractor Supply is really cool. Maybe I want to check it out. And then within days, they flip flopped and they're like, never mind. We don't love the gays. We're just going to be over here. And it
Yeah.
was sad because it was one of those few companies where you're like, wow, I'm actually surprised that given what you do and what market you're in, that you're
Yeah.
pro LGBTQIA plus, you're pro DEI, you're pro like Black Lives Matter, and then they reversed it entirely. I don't know. In marketing in general, like it becomes one of those things where it was like, you seem fickle. And in marketing, you really can't seem fickle like that. Pick a lane and go with it.
I want to bring something up too, that this was from last week's episode. So anyone who listened to last week's episode, it was me solo, but I was downloading from Meltwater Summit. And this correlates exactly to what we were just saying, because we were talking about marketing Gen Z. By the way,
Yes.
dollars, people, lots of dollars coming out of that, and they choose values, and that's where they spend their money. When you have a brand doing this, where it's evident that they are merely catering to whomever's got the loudest voice in the room, regardless of values. If it's hate versus love, exclude versus include. And you just described something. And Target would love, if someone wants to be on this podcast and come in and talk about this, great, let's do this. But you are showing us with your actions and how you're choosing to change things in the store. And let's really minimize this. You are demonstrating that we don't have values. We value
Yes.
money, and we only value money. We all get it. We know you value money. Of course you do. You wouldn't have a store, and you wouldn't be like having us come in there, I'm going to buy a toothbrush and $300 later I walk out. But when I talk about that, and if you look at like Gen Z, and particularly if they're like, hey, I see what you're doing there, maybe I won't go to you. I'm going to go to Amazon instead. And I will not be spending my money with you, or I'll spend my money somewhere else. I won't come and buy my toothbrush and spend $300 there, because I see that this didn't matter to you. What mattered to you was dollars and whiny, loudy, bitchy people. But that's super important, and they need to be assessing that. I hope they see fallout from it. I hope that any brand that, especially if you're doing that thing, look, if you're going to come out and very much be hard stance on one certain way and stick with that, go. Like you said, at least we know who you are and what you stand for. But don't do this shit where you go back and forth. Like I said, I know there's a lot of different voices and a lot of probably very wealthy people who are at upper echelons of the companies that are just making these decisions, saying, no, we're going to go soft on Pride this year. But the other thing I was going to say, You have also just signed yourself up for some very slippery slopage because we've got book banning going on in this country, particularly heavy in certain segments. What are you going to start doing? Can you not sell books in your Target?
Yep.
Because people are going to be like, no, you got books that are, So what are you going to do? Make a little banned book section at the back and try to hide it, pretend it's not there? What about, hey, school season, school supplies are going to go on sale soon. Oops, people don't like public schools nowadays. People are really favoring charter schools and private schools and homeschooling, and those teachers are groomers. What are you going to start doing? Make it so people can't buy their school supplies because you don't want to look like you're endorsing public school teachers? When does it stop? Yeah.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, is that we're still marketing to boomers. Why are we still marketing to boomers? And I'm not saying that every boomer is a bigot. I am not saying that at all.
No.
But
No.
the idea that like this is a corporation and they just have to say what will make the largest population happy, that's a boomer.
Reginald agrees with you.
It's actually Gretchen. I don't know.
Oh, is it Gretchen?
Yes, Gretchen.
Gretchen agrees with you too. She's bitch. Say it.
Just been quiet. What are you doing? Shh. But yeah, I never thought about that before. We are still marketing to boomers. How are we still marketing to boomers when boomers are such a small percentage? So we're only marketing to boomers, but we have Gen X, we have millennials, we have Gen Alpha, and we're ignoring all of them for boomers. And boomers are least likely to be purchasing a lot of these services and products. I never thought about that before. And I think a lot of that comes down to diminishing like how much money millennials are. I mean, I will die on the hill that boomers forget how old millennials are, because I'm an elder millennial and I'm 3 years old. I've purchased 4 houses in my life, but in their head, for a lot of boomers, millennials are in their 20s.
Yeah. Or, I mean, you just went on a tour. You just took an international trip. You're spending money. And they just can't fathom that.
Exactly. So they have a really diluted sense of how old each of these generations is. And I will say that it's like boomers, and I would say late Gen Xers, who I consider like boomer light. They kind of lean that way. Not all of them, but a lot of them lean kind of like where their ancestors went. But it's like the younger Gen Xers, the elder millennials, the millennials, the Gen Zers, and the Gen Alphas. How many fucking generations is that we're totally ignoring?
Elizabeth, I think of you have a Gen Alpha and I have 2 Gen Alphas. And they are watching, they are seeing this play out. By the way, my kids are going to make money. Like they are ready. They are so fiscally on it and they are ready, and they're they are so careful about their money and where they spend it and with whom. And so please, if you're listening to this, if you're in marketing decision-making rooms in your company and you do not have this generational representation, get it quickly. In
the last episode, you talked a lot about advertising and marketing to Gen Z, which I feel like is a totally overlooked generation. We're still seeing them as children. These people are out in the working world. They're spending their
adults.
money. Why would you overlook them? I get mad enough as an elder millennial where I'm like, bitch, do you know how old I am? Like, I've been spending my money for a long time.
Well, and I'm Gen X. I don't matter anywhere. I'm still latchkeying my way through the day.
It blows my mind. And I will tell these people all day long that I'm like, again, bitch, I am 43 years old. I'm going through perimenopause. I have an 11-year-old daughter. I've purchased several houses, but you still see me as somebody who's like 22. And even the people who are 22, those are the people actually, from what I've seen in that generation, who are the most ambitious in getting out there and building their careers. So to completely discount them, and I think that's a lot of what that is. And I think you hit that nail on the head, is pride, DEI, all of these informed like ways to market. They're just discounting. Those are the people you want to be talking to, because honestly, boomers, I love you and all, but you're going to be dead soon. Okay.
Me too. I'm going to be dead someday too.
Like, because they have the money and they're going to be spending it, and they're going to be spending it more long-term. Oh my God. I will go on this rant till the day I die. It's one of my biggest pet peeves about how we look at the generations, but like, how are we still looking at boomers as the main generation, when they're not the ones spending the money, they're not the ones impacting the marketing, they're not the ones impacting the sales. Like, it's really Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, and Alpha.
Again, who's in the room making the decisions?
Exactly.
And unfortunately, a lot of the times, people with most of the money might be the boomers.
Because they won't fucking retire.
They're like, no, cling to the money. Well, I know we absolutely could go on about this for a long time, but we are going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. How's your toe?
Listen, holiday week, it is sandal wearing week, and my toenail was looking crazy, and I only have one pair of sneakers. So I was like, this ain't gonna work out, and I need to go get a pedicure. Now, let me tell you, marketing peoples, these people should do a better job of marketing, because I got to tell you, and of course, I know every region, every state is different, but what I paid for this pedicure I got would have been double what I paid for this just now. He was all wax paraffin and all these lotions and potions and creams and rubbing and massaging and all this. I was like, okay, I thought I was just going to get a polish change, and a little somebody go in there and make that broken toenail look good. I didn't know I was getting all this. Okay. So I did leave a very good tip, because I was not expecting that.
We did talk a lot about your emergency pedicure heavy quotes.
Yes. I was like, I hope they triaged her right in.
Got her right.
It was. Because you cannot be cute. I get the gel things on my toes. So like it cracked off. It was looking crazy.
Yeah. That's not a quick.
I used to get all kinds of crazy colors. But usually I stick to like oranges and reds. Maybe a blue. This is one of the times when I did a green. And the green was as green as the green. Our names is that green, right? I ain't got that in my arsenal. So I could have almost tried to, let's just let somebody fix on it. And it looks so good. He did a wonderful job. He did.
Nice. I'm glad.
This is where I admit that for somebody who never literally paints her nails, I have every color of the rainbow times 30. Why? I don't understand. I don't paint my nails, but I could have given you this green that you're talking about right now without a problem. Why?
I don't paint my hands. I very rarely do my hands, which I'm guessing probably looks odd because she has her toes all painted up like a whore, but her nails look like she does some work. A party in the bottom. What is it? A business at the top, party on the bottom.
Okay. There's nothing worse than bad nails. Like, I remember working in the office and when the season started to get warmer, like looking under the stalls of the bathroom and be like, bitch, you should not be in sandals right now. Like, you should be fixing this.
Your heel is all rusty and crusty. And it's not even about the nails at this point. If your heels are all rusty and crusty, get you some pretty foots. And if you get you some pretty foots, like spring breakage time, so like March, by the time it's really sandal season, you'll be good to go.
Mm-hmm. Or at least a pumice stone or pumice stone or whatever it's called in your shower. Because I use that.
Some of those people need pretty foots. You can use a pumice stone because you don't let your shit go out of hell. These people need pretty foots. They need to peel it, all the layers, and they need all that.
Let's drive back because... What?
There was drive-through Starbucks, which is not everywhere, but I'm home now, and all the things that I like right there is acai berry something.
Ooh.
And I think it's got actually something else in it because I feel real hype right now. Usually I came in hot. Okay.
You timed it perfectly. So we are in the good marketing ? Segment. Let me describe the screenshot you sent. You sent us a screenshot of a post that was shared by Black Twitter threads on Instagram. And it's a screenshot of a quoted tweet. So I will read you the original tweet and then I will read you the quoted tweet. So the original tweet is by someone with the handle @_originalQ. And it says, "You could be in the middle of a crisis. Fashion Nova will text you." And then it's blanked out something, "Read the room." And then it says, and then the quote tweet, Fashion Nova.
The blanked out is "Bitch, read the room."
Okay, so it says, "Bitch, read the room." Dude, I could say bitch. And then Fashion Nova quote tweeted that and said, "Bitch, read the text. We got a deal for you." Kissy face emoji. And your question was if that was good marketing. First of all, Elizabeth, what do you think? I mean, I think I'm not familiar with Fashion Nova as a brand or a handle. And I don't know if you are either. Tanya, you might be. So let's do a little round the room. Who's familiar with Fashion Nova?
Fashion Nova is where all the little Instagram girlies get all their books and booty clothes from, which is all your boobies and your ass. It's for the big booty haver.
All right, now we know. Yep. And oh my God. And this is why do we not? I need to put the video out of this podcast because we just got some twerking by Elizabeth at the camera. Love it.
I can't even twerk. My body doesn't, but I'm like, oh Lord. My ancestors. This might be why I don't have any kids. They like, child, let this die with you.
I think it's good marketing. I'm just going to throw it out
agree.
there. I think it's good marketing. I think it's very funny. I think it's not high stakes because it's just like a response to a comment, which is always funny. If I saw it as like a potential customer of Fashion Nova, I'd be like, I like that.
Right.
Like it would give me a little thrill for a second. So I think it's good marketing. I especially think it's good marketing because it's being reposted by Black Twitter threads. And Black Twitter is notoriously the funniest part of Twitter.
Yes.
And so immediately I'm like, it's funny. I like it. I appreciate it. It's smart. It's quick, which is what Black Twitter is known for.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think it's hilarious.
I do too. I'm co-signed. I think it's great. People might be like, ooh, but they said bitch.
But the people who are like, they said bitch aren't the target market.
Exactly. Thank you. Saying it for the room. That's right.
I saw it and cackled. And I actually went back to find it because I thought about it and was like, is this good marketing? Let me ask my
good
people.
Is it good marketing for every brand? No.
Exactly.
And y'all, I'm sure we've all seen it. People float into discussion, posts, threads, communities, whatever. I saw one yesterday. I'm in a Facebook group. It's of local marketers. And they were asking, hey, I want to start marketing myself more on social media. Here are two things I whipped up with AI. Which one do you like better? And to a person, thankfully, everybody was good marketers because they said, who's your target audience? Everybody asked that question. They're like, doesn't matter if we like it or not. Are we your target audience? What are you selling? And they were like, well, marketing services. We're not your target audience. And you need to decide what it is. That's the crux. It's like you said, Tanya, target audience. We were just talking about people, maybe the TikTok lady who didn't like Pride at Target last year. Probably not the target audience for that particular tweet. She not going to like it. But the people who would shop at Fashion Nova and follow them on social probably would. And if it turns people away, they're not your target market. And they were fine with that. Fine with it.
Exactly.
Good
I
marketing.
think it was great. I totally agree with you. It's hitting the target. It's funny. It's quick. It's not super serious. It's not like taking a lot of time to make the joke. Again, very low stakes. Just throw that out there.
Yeah.
Immediately, I love it. And if I was interested in shopping Fashion Nova, I'd be like, oh, okay, I like them.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
If you listen, I have two things from Fashion Nova. That's it. Just because I'm not
boobs and ass. You don't want to show your boobs and ass.
I mean, I do want to show my boobs and ass because, sometimes a girl is single. Hello, Jeffrey. I'm still single. However.
Did you see my post to you about that I finally did watch American Fiction?
Yes. Did you enjoy it?
Everybody should watch that movie. Okay. That movie was great.
Wasn't it?
And I totally understand your love of Jeffrey right now. Totally.
And I mean, I get some of the criticism in that it felt a little, because I think that when they wrote this, it was actually maybe late 99, early 2000. We're getting off track. Early 2000. So it may have felt that era-ish. I still enjoyed it. I don't care. Let it go, people. Enjoy the movie.
He was still so cute. The minute I watched that movie, I was like, I get the love of Jeffrey Wright. Like I was fully on board. Nice. So that alone.
But that whole character is every man I've loved and who has abandoned me on the side of the road. Because that is my type. I mean, as soon as he came on the screen being all difficult and moody, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to bring this back home. I have two Fashion Nova things, and that is it. One I bought well long ago, and it doesn't fit anymore because I'm smaller. And one thing that I do still wear, a little jean dress is not actually any boobs or whether it's just I happen to love me a denim dress, and I think I have too many actually. So I'm gonna start culling the herd a bit. But I was gonna say don't sleep on it though. Here's the thing: it is fast fashion, and depending on where you fall in regard to that, I can understand how people are like, I don't
Mhm.
want to be bothered. I got that. If you've decided that nobody is pure and you want some whole shit.
At
You want
some
some
point, you
party
will.
clothes. But they
Mhm.
have things there that aren't quite as, that's not all, I said booty and boobs, but it's some other stuff. But it is made for curvier bodies, which is what I was trying to get at. They're
Mm.
making them for women who have behinds and thighs and, is cut for that kind of body.
Hashtag real
So you might
women.
actually, I mean, if you're a woman and you have a body, you're real. And I know that's not what you meant, but where I'm going with that is
Yeah.
I do still think they are targeting the waist trainer enhanced bodies, though. I do think that is a bit of the target market,
Yeah.
but even that still means that if you happen to have hips and thighs, there might be some options there that you might like.
Nice.
Because that's what I wanted, a bodycon dress several years ago, and that's how I got the one that I bought. And actually, I wore it to our friend's wedding in Miami down there, and they kept saying, "Why are your titties out?" I said, "Because it's Miami. I know that I am chased at all other times, but we in Miami."
All right. We decided that's good marketing. So,
Mm.
stamp of approval, though, again, good marketing for that particular brand. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. And we're back with the final segment of the podcast, which is We Got. I will defer to someone else who got. I believe, Elizabeth, you did get got. Would you like to share what you got by?
All right, so I got twice. This was not a social media thing. This was not like a marketing thing, but I got by getting a new cat because my husband fell in
Aw,
love with
Yay.
a cat at an animal control center, and now we have a new cat. But the funniest thing that I got by is being in Liverpool and buying Beatles shit. Okay. So I came home, Liverpool and London. I came home with a Beatles hoodie, a Beatles t shirt, a print of Abbey Road Studios. We actually have a leaf from John Lennon's house, which one of the tour guides gave my daughter because he learned that she has hibiscus plants that she named John Lennon and Yoko. And he thought that was
aw.
like very charming. If you're going to Liverpool or London, you will likely be got by the Beatles bug if you're a Beatles fan. Yeah, I walked away with a lot of that. That was my current thing. And then the other thing that I got by is not so much a product, but a look. Okay. And it was from
Hmm.
TikTok. It was people wearing jumpsuits with a tank top or like a little like baby doll tee. So
Hmm.
I previously had a few jumpsuits that I wore last year and they were like tank style, like spaghetti strap style. But I'm not feeling great about my body right now. So I don't really want to wear them. And so all of a sudden, I was buying all these fucking tank tops and all these little like baby doll tees to wear under my jumpsuits, which makes them so goddamn cute. So I got because I was on TikTok and I was watching all these people buying like the Halara jumpsuits and all of these jumpsuits, and they were wearing this cute little tank top under it. And for some reason, to me, it made it so much cuter. So then I went on and I bought a bunch of tank tops. Now I didn't get got by a particular brand of tank top,
But the
but
look.
I definitely bought them.
Nice.
So yeah. So it was Beetle shit and tank tops for jumpsuits.
Nice. Tanya, did you get got aside from the pedicure? I mean, you got, but you were going anyway.
No, I got in a good way with that pedicure though.
Hmm.
'Cause, I mean, they handed me a thing was like, which one of these? And the most expensive one still wasn't expensive. Again, relative. I guess it's expensive here because at home, that's what I'm paying for, way less than what I got in this place.
Nice.
If I got in a good way. I just said that one, that one. And she said, okay, and pick your color, which I did. And then I sat down and that man went to work and he was rubbing all the oils and the lotions and the creams and the hot stones and all this and the towels and then some more lotions and creams and hot towels and stones. And I was like, I didn't know I had paid for all this. Okay, sir. Thank you. And he was very polite, which of course, was expected. But I was like, I need to make sure I tip this gentleman. This was a nice relaxing experience. I'm trying to think if I got by anything else.
Yeah.
I'm about to get got my cousin. So Duck Donut is here. I try not to think about that. I have forgotten that. Okay. But my cousin reminded me that Duck Donut is here. I semi blocked it out again, and then I remembered this morning, ooh, Duck Donut is here. And I was gonna go get me a Duck Donut, but they closed early. So I almost could have almost got by you, but you closed your doors early because you open early, so you close early. I get it because I had already put my dozen together on your website. I had already done the calculus about which 6 to 12 donuts I was going to visit my uncle. I even told him I'm going to Duck Donut. Is there any donut there you like? And he said, any donut you bring me is the one I would like. So I was like, oh, good. They closed their doors. Hopefully I will wake up tomorrow and I won't be thinking about this and they'll be closed again. And then I won't get got by this donut thing because I don't really need this donut.
You're hoping the
And
clocks work for you.
I don't need 12 donuts. And it's just the two of us. So we don't need 12 donuts between the two of us. So I'm going to just try my best to do better.
Now I want a donut. I want a donut right now.
Have you ever had Duck Donuts?
I don't know. I've never.
You go to Myrtle Beach, it's like Duck Donut is there. And actually, there might even be one in the DC area. But again, I try to block it out because I like a donut and I don't need a donut.
Who needs a donut? But of course, donuts are fantastic. We want them. I'm going to get got. I know I'm just saying I'm going to get got, and I will share about how I get got. We're going to Fan Expo this weekend, which is our Comic-Con locally. Georgia and I are going. I'm probably going to cosplay in some way. She's definitely going to. My son and his girlfriend are going to go. We always take some money because there's all the merch there, all the nerdy sci-fi, comic, anime, movies, TV merch, and I'm going to come away with something because I always got to replenish my stockpile of those. And I usually look for, so I'm going to keep my eyes open. One of my favorite shows is Firefly. And then the subsequent movie, Serenity. So good.
You know what? It's been enough time since I've watched the whole thing that I might do a re-binge of I might have binged re-binge of a re-binge binge.
It's so good. I just love it so much. Yeah, I was just telling Elizabeth at the top of the podcast, we were rewatching that, and it made me think of, it all makes sense because it talks about how sometimes girls are not as easy to get along with as boys. But I had a necklace that had a quote, I think it said, "No power in the verse can stop me," and I lost it. And I looked last year, I couldn't find it, so I always keep an eye out. And I like nice necklaces. Some of those are a little cheaper, some of the booths, and I want a nice necklace. So we'll see if I can find it. But that's not going to stop me from spending money. I'm definitely going to buy at least a few things, and then I will talk about those next week and how they got me, just because they're nerdy and stuff. And like I said, we need to have Reginald appear on our social media, which brings us to our outro, because that is all the time we have for today, everybody. But on our way out, let's see, I'll start with Tanya first. Tanya, where can we find and follow you and your intern that you're holding right now?
I am always at TTTDOUBLEB, and she is always at Butterbean Ballot Brown, all mashed together. And she actually has some new content up.
I saw that today. It was cute.
One, but 2 posts this week. She is on fire this week. She may have a 3rd one.
Awesome. All right.
Catch me outside. Catch us outside.
That's right. That's right. And Elizabeth, where can we find and follow you and any of your fur babies? Are they all kind of conglomerated into your social?
They're all conglomerated. Of course, TikTok liked to fuck with me this week. So I showed up to Ireland. I had my 14th account on TikTok, which was working just fine. And then my family and I took a nap. And then I woke up, and without any warning, my 14th TikTok account was dead.
Oh.
And so I had to create a 15th TikTok account. And then a couple of days ago, the 15th TikTok account got destroyed.
Whoa.
But I could still log into the 14th TikTok account randomly. I hate this fucking app. It's like Stockholm syndrome at this point. I don't know why.
It's a toxic relationship.
Yeah, it's a toxic relationship. So I'm on my 14th technically, but also my 15th. And when this one eventually dies, it will be my 16th because it's only a matter of time. But you can also find me at LinkedIn at Elizabeth.Allen 1001. That's probably the best place to get me because TikTok hates my guts no matter how much I love it, and I dedicate my life, aka my viewing hours, to it.
There's a part of me that's tempted. You know how we do season 1, 8 episodes, season 2. I think we should just change seasons every time you have a new, be like, and now we're in the 16th season.
Dude, I'm so frustrated because it would be one thing, like I got no warnings. Literally, we were in Ireland. We landed in Ireland. I was using TikTok just fine. We took a nap. I woke up and my account was gone. Not a single warning. And then I had to create a 15th. And then when I woke up literally yesterday, my 15th was banned, but I didn't get a warning about that either. And then I was able to randomly log into my 14th.
Do you think it's because you were traveling?
I'll never understand TikTok's obsession with me because I'm like, I don't have a lot of followers because you won't let me get there. My very first account, I was like creeping up on 10,000 and then they killed me. And ever since then, it's like 1,000, if that, 500.
Dang, they are obsessed
and
with
every
you.
time they're like, I swear to God, there's somebody who hates me at TikTok.
Did you hear though too, last week's episode, that I was so excited at the conference I was at. I had opted to sit in the very last row because I'm like, I need to be able to move around and stand and stuff. And some dude was talking about TikTok, about how to market on TikTok and stuff like that, how to craft good stories. And he was talking about how you don't need to have high production qualities. Yeah. And apparently there was like a user, Risa, and I yelled out, Teresa! And a couple other people shouted out too. And everyone went, whoop. And then he talked about the hook tour and like making references. And we're all like, oh, I totally know who that is. So I was so excited that because you educated me on Risa. And I watched the whole thing. And I got my mom to watch the whole thing. And, but I just loved that it came full circle.
I love the app, but the app does not love me. It's
rude.
pretty much where I am at with that app.
That's right. It is. But we'll just be like, okay, we're now on 16th season and 17th season and stuff.
Especially because I'm nobody. Why are you so focused on me?
Somebody
Why
must
are you
be.
so focused on me?
I bet
don't
somebody looks
understand.
for you and they're waiting for you to start another one. And then they're like, and maybe they lurk on one of our mutual friends' TikToks and like waits for you to pop out of the woodwork in her comments. I don't know.
I'm not that interesting, guys. Just like let it go.
You are though. Come on. They're obsessed. They need to see you try to make you cry. And you're like,
The fact that I don't even get warnings now is what kills me. At least before I would get warnings to be like, you're on an account warning. I'm like, fair, because I'm usually telling you all you're morons.
that seems fishy. Fishy.
The last couple ones, they just were like, no, we're done with you.
Like, no, thanks. Well, I'm sure we'll see you soon. See you soon. See you next time. Y'all can find and follow me. I do still have a TikTok account and a couple other places too. Rachel has the mic pretty much everywhere. Follow the podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Just Trust Me Podcast, and anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. If you liked this podcast, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. If you really liked it, leave us a review because that's good marketing anyway. By the way, we have 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, so you should add on to that. It's good. We'll catch you on the next episode of Just Trust Me, and bye.
Bye.
Bye.